It's hot today in Florida. I went out earlier today and it was about 103 degrees. Not to mention, I tried doing about 3.5 miles today, but it was just too hot today. Technically, I had multiple walks. The only one that was recorded was about 2.4 miles, but then the second one was without the watch. So, as you know, doesn't really count. I mean, that being said, even though it's hot here in Florida, it's nothing compared to the hot water in which Boogie is in right now. A bit of context. 2 weeks ago, Boogie decided to promote a shitcoin. I think it was called Fatty Token.
Boogie, it looks like you launched a crypto token that is a scam, a pump and dump. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I don't think it's a pump and dump. It is a meme coin.
It's literally from a thing called Pump.Fun. What are you talking about?
Which, I mean, you may have probably already heard that from your favorite commentary channel at this point. Honestly, just whatever your flavor of commentary is, they may have already covered it. Personally, I got a lot of my coverage from CoffeeZilla, straight from the void. And honestly, I think that is the only kind of context you need. That and the live stream that Destiny kind of crashed earlier in the week, where, you know, a lot of this really came into light. Not to mention that now with a lot of added pressure and scrutiny, like, Boogie's about to crack, honestly.
Wait. That's on June 28th. That's on June 28th. You showed me a payment for $550 on June 28th, which is after we talked, after you told me the money was all gone.
Boogie's kind of a frustrating topic for everyone, honestly. He's somebody who had a lot of goodwill and an actual career online, and really the only thing he had to do was just be a decent human being with, you know, a bit of common sense, and he could have kept that going for a long time. Sure, I think anyone with a long-lived career online is bound to face at least some level of, you know, controversy, regardless of how wholesome you are. Not to mention, it's not impossible to bounce back from it, especially looking at PewDiePie, who, you know, was at the top of the game and then things happened. And look at him now. He's currently living the retired life over in Japan with his wife Marzia and his baby Bjorn. And, you know, the puppies. Unfortunately, one of them passed away. Rest in peace. But yeah, it's definitely possible to come back from controversy. It's just, for some reason, Boogie has decided to just like double, triple, quadruple down. And I know he has this kind of desire to be seen as helpless and a victim. And regardless of whatever's going on, he's still, you know, helpless. I just realized this is the second video in a row where I talk about helplessness in the context of somebody who's like overweight. But I digress. I used to be a fan of Boogie. You could say I'm kind of terminally online, especially now with my job where I'm sitting in a cubicle for 8 to 9 hours a day, and I always have something in the background. I'll literally listen to podcasts and hour-long videos. Shout out to CZ's World. Honestly, I've been binging his content recently on the complete histories of demonic entities or horror movies, etc. But going back to Boogie, I'm a little bit envious of his position. I mean, who wouldn't be? The guy, I think, currently is at like over 3 million subs, and he has all the potential to actually make a proper living from YouTube. And if he just sat down and made proper content, I don't see why he couldn't just bounce back in a couple months, as long as he's, you know, on the straight and narrow and whatever. But, you know, Boogie, and like I mentioned, he'll double down and triple down. And personally, I think what really kills Boogie, aside from his mentality, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what solution you throw his way. It doesn't matter what you try. Like, it doesn't matter if you try to help him or whatever. There's always an excuse. I mean, perfect example is him sabotaging himself in the job interview.
Tell me a little bit about your background and where you think you want to go with the experience that you already have.
I was one of the original YouTubers to really kind of blow up. Diablo 3, this is my favorite game. I got married, then I got a divorce. I kind of completely and utterly lost my mind. I am disabled. I am morbidly obese. I have no references, no work history, and no education. When you Google my name, you might see rumors that I beat my ex-wife, also a pedophile, but that could be an issue.
Well, that's difficult.
Should mention I'm also a felon.
Lots of things in life are about your mindset. You're using weight and disability. I can't. If that is the attitude that you're going to have when you approach everything, then you can't. And you won't.
I did work in the porn industry for the better part of 7 years, so I mean...
Be real with me. Do you really think it would be a good idea to go to a real interview and reference porn?
I myself mentioned in the last video that one of the best salesmen from the insurance company that I worked at was blind and morbidly obese. She worked remote, but that woman would grind for hours a day, and she out-earned me. I mean, really easy to do. I was earning about I think I was earning about $1,000 a month, which at that point, honestly, I could have just worked at McDonald's. Fun fact, I actually ended up working at a cafe and out-earned my best month in insurance. Boogie is just his own worst enemy, especially when it comes to Twitter. Honestly, he just can't help but respond to every faceless account, regardless of whatever comment they're leaving. It doesn't matter who it is. If you know they're trolling, Boogie will take the time out of his day to just respond. That being said, I kind of found out all about this because of Twitter when I woke up and I started seeing a lot of memes on it. And I picked out a handful just to kind of give you an idea of what I woke up to. It was pretty fucked up for Boogie2988 to lie about having cancer without thinking about how his daughter might be impacted by his behavior. I mean, kind of low-hanging fruit. Everyone knows his current girlfriend is a little on the young side, but that's the first one I saw, and that's when I knew, like, what? That's how I knew to kind of look into it. Like I mentioned, Destiny crashed a live stream a couple days ago where he kind of really pressured Boogie into just stumbling over his words, really just being unable to come up with a straight answer or just refusing overall. Tom Dark apparently had commented to Destiny that he really thought it was fake, and that's what really kind of like... Honestly, Tom Dark, he's controversial. I don't really care. I love his content as well. But it's just, to me, it was hilarious how like one offhand remark kind of exposed all of this. It's like a true butterfly effect. Apparently, a lot of people in that live stream also offered Boogie to show his like medical records, obviously redacted to keep whatever isn't already doxed private. And I think they offered all the way up to $80,000. So one of the other tweets I saw was, "You can't make this shit up. Getting $10,000 to promote a crypto scam? Yeah. Getting $80,000 to prove you actually have cancer? No." That one really cracked me up when I first saw it. This is another one. Boogie demanding his doctors to tamper with his medical records. Ooh. This one I have to actually do a dramatic reading for.
Boogie Pig, after being exposed for lying about having cancer for 2 years and using it to promote a scam, decides to get naked on a live stream as a last resort.
And lastly, one that really kind of had me in stitches was from the transphobe himself, Mudahar.
I have no knowledge of any of this. This is so bizarre.
That's really a reference to the live stream where somebody else, I genuinely forgot his name, I'm sorry. But apparently he also had cancer and nobody believed him. Or like people just thought he was kind of faking it. So he's the one who proposed the idea of showing his patient portal with just the diagnoses. Honestly, it's not that hard. Like, I think he could have just like, maybe not shown it on the live stream, but maybe shown it to like people with reputable kind of character, you know, like Coffeezilla, or I saw Scott Schaefer in some of the tweets, which we'll get to in a minute. You know, people like that who aren't Keemstar, you know, aren't part of his like kind of circle. It could have been even Destiny himself, like just a DM, like, oh, okay, and then Destiny or whoever could vouch for him and say, listen, you know, I know he didn't do it on the live stream, but he actually does have cancer. Circling back to some of the other tweets, I saw this one, and this is an excellent example of Boogie being a defeatist. He's got this poll right here where it's like, so I heard Penguin Zero said to start a GoFundMe if I need help with medical stuff. I've heard that a lot. What do you think? So should I seriously consider it? Obviously, I feel like this is before being exposed. But the options are he's right, do it, maybe, ? Which is what I marked. And then here's Scott, and like I mentioned, here's Scott saying, why all the self-hate, Boogie, there's no option that needs to say just die. And then here is Boogie. Like, his response to Scott was like, I like to let the type of people who feel that way have an option too. They are people as well. Shut the fuck up, Boogie. Like, you don't feel this way. That's the thing. Boogie does this thing that it irks me. It genuinely irks me. If you want me to react to the Mike Klum documentary, I'm definitely down. Just let me know down below. But he does this thing where he just like fake nice towards people who he would consider like haters, and it just pisses me off. Or another one is like, he'll be fake nice to your face, and then he'll turn around and just like badmouth you in front of other people. A perfect example is Caleb Hammer. Like, Caleb had him on the show and really offered to help, and then he just talked shit. Mike Klum is another one where he did the documentary where Boogie did see a little boost in his revenue, and again, just talking shit about the guy. CoffeeZilla, he was like, on the first phone call with CoffeeZilla, he was like, oh yeah, you're a guy of like great moral character, and I'll never badmouth you in front of the guys, even on the podcast. If they tell me to badmouth you, I'm just gonna say no. And then he's just there talking shit.
It shows that you have the integrity that I believe you did. 110%. It means so much. Many, many YouTubers would not have done that for me, and you did, and I think that's incredible. No matter what you have to say in this video, I'll never have a bad thing to say about you. Even on the show, even on the local podcast where my job is going to be to attack you back, I'm just not going to do it.
I should have never talked to CoffeeZilla to begin with. It was a joke, CoffeeZilla.
Who told you that?
Of course you fucking did. Much less the second fucking time. Then in this, by the way, CoffeeZilla records you without telling you he records you.
That's not
Name
true.
a
He
YouTuber does that.
He told me.
So that was a fucking lie.
Anyways, I think your career would definitely be taking a better turn if you leave the fake nice. If you like, obviously don't be a dick, but I think if you leave the fake nice or the niceties or just like the two-faced approach to things, I think your career could just like pivot back. Be your genuine self. If you're a degenerate, embrace it. Just don't be a defeatist, bro. I think I get really worked up by this because I don't really like people who are disingenuous. I don't like being lied to. I don't like people lying. I don't like people taking advantage of their position or whatever. I don't like when people play victims. It's yucky, and I would much rather see him go the DSP route where he's just begging and being genuinely Boogie, but without all the fake fluff. Circling back to Scott, he had this other tweet where he just mentioned like, how do you hit trending on Twitter? Fake, having cancer for 2 years, I guess. But then what really kind of stood out to me was like this response from whatever his name is, and it's like, Scott, all deserved criticism, but you don't think this type of campaign against even a stable human being might lead to the worst outcome? Banish him, but don't push him off the cliff. I question the whole premise of Keemstar manipulating these guys with money. It's fucking gross. These guys are adults. They've been in the career for years. They know and embraced the lol-cal aesthetic. The problem with Boogie isn't the fact that he has a carrot of money in front of Keemstar's actually being a good, a decent friend. He's offering a career, he's offering a comeback, he's offering a stable paycheck. It's even confirmed with one of the phone calls with Coffee. You know, Keemstar is genuinely taking care of these guys.
The reason we were told the money was at Mercy Hospital right now, that was initially, now it's because he's got a mortgage. But also, Boogie had showed me his income for the last month, and it looked to me like the podcast is what paid for his mortgage. And so I asked, wouldn't that money pay for your mortgage? Boogie said, this month it wouldn't, because he had to go on a special trip, and his co-host was withholding all the money for that month. Now later, I asked his co-host Keemstar about this, and he seemed surprised. He said the show definitely pays for Boogie's mortgage, so I was confused. Later, Boogie was confronted on this by his co-hosts, and Boogie suggested maybe I edited the clip out of context.
You told him that you weren't getting paid from this show. He played the fucking recording because he recorded you.
You know, obviously, what does he get out of it? You know, a podcast that makes some money, I guess. I don't know. But the problem is like Scott, and I have a bit of a gripe with, but I can get into those gripes some other video. He says, yeah, I've noticed every YouTuber I watch, Penguin Zero, some ordinary gamer, and even CoffeeZilla, second channel, make videos on this. If he faked cancer, it's fucked up, but this level of dogpiling I don't think will end well. I don't know. I think both of you guys are extending an olive branch that shouldn't even need to be extended. Honestly, I think you guys are giving Boogie a little bit too much credit. If he were to take the extreme route, I'd be very surprised. You know, like I mentioned, he could definitely come back from this, and I think he knows that too. It's just he makes the worst decisions. But anyway, the guy responds back to Scott saying, thanks for your considerate and measured response. I don't know. Is he faking it? Maybe. I don't really care. I think it's stupid and gross, and I don't think he's ever needed to resort to this. Lastly, I think one of the reasons why I actually take this a little bit personally is the fact that obviously I'm going through my journey as well. I'm working hard, as evidenced by my tan lines. I'm trying my best to, you know, make small changes and be healthy overall. I turned 30 last year, and I was also at my heaviest weight at 320 pounds. After my birthday, a lot of just medical things started exploding one after the other, and I was panicking. It was like a huge wake-up call where I knew, like, listen, if I make it to 40 and I'm still living the way that I do now, that's the final nail in the coffin. I'm like, there's no coming back from that. I think it would be too late. And the reality, it's never too late as long as you like actually work hard and commit yourself to the change. Even at Boogie's age, you can at the very least affect the quality of life that's to come. You know, sure, he might have some joint pains. Obviously, heart health and cholesterol and whatever is like chronic is kind of like it'll be there. But I can guarantee you, if he were to actually commit to the change, his quality of life would just increase drastically, like genuinely. And the best part is that he would actually be able to get with the women that he wants. Instead of the Arkansas 8, he can get with a California 10. And he's not gonna make ladies of the night just want to quit, you know, after a session or two with him. It may sound like I'm being very mean to Boogie, but honestly, it pisses me off. Again, he could have it all, and he just chooses not to. Anyways, I know this was very different to the previous video, but I really wanted to get this out there. It's something I feel strongly about, but whatever. Thank you for watching.
The women I dated were pretty, sure, but they were like Arkansas 8s, not LA 10s.
There's rules upon rules upon rules, and it took me a long time to find sticks. I am now married with 2 kids, and sleeping with Boogie is one of the reasons I quit sex work.